financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Good morning. Welcome to Law and Reality. It is a beautiful day in Michigan, as all days are. And welcome, Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken. Wonderful to be here this morning. We got a little feedback on the mic, though, but
A little bit.
hopefully our producer can figure that one out. But in the meantime, yes, it is wonderful to be here, and it is a beautiful day in Michigan, as any day would actually be.
We've got some breaking news.
Breaking news?
I'm reading it as it comes across right now. Donald Trump has made a controversial statement, everybody. Once again, Donald Trump has made a controversial statement. Be alerted.
That's shocking.
Isn't that shocking? I mean, it seems to me that Fox and CNN, every time Donald says something, it's breaking news. So I thought I would share that with our audience, that breaking news every time Donald Trump burps, it's breaking news.
Maybe it has something. Donald Trump gets his hair done.
That would, if he got it done differently, that would be breaking news. So anyway, Einstein's out. He's at a soccer tournament this week. We miss him dearly. Let's talk about the show. What we're going to cover this segment of the show is we're going to actually preview our upcoming seminar, End Debt This Summer, which is on August 19th on Wednesday. And so we're going to talk about the things that we talk about at the seminar. We're going to kind of give you an overview. There's too much material. The seminar is an hour and a half, and it's jam-packed full of material, so we're not going to be able to cover all the material in a half hour. But there was an interesting article I just recently saw. U.S. consumer credit picked up somewhat remarkably, I thought, in June, which is to me alarming. It says to me, here we go again. Revolving credit, because our big focus is on credit card debt. I don't care when consumer credit goes up as a result of auto loans, because there is a product that goes with the credit.
Besides, auto loans are good for Detroit because we produce steel. So
absolutely. But so anyway, credit card debt went up at an annual rate in June of 7.4%, which was a jump from May of 2.1%. Now, that's a big bump, and, it's no big surprise because if you look in your mailbox, they are flooding the mailboxes with offers on credit card debt.
Yeah, but what's the reason?
I don't know. Are you guys hearing the static on the mic, or is it okay? It's just okay. Cool.
You got to look at what's the reason why so much consumer credit card debt went up. I mean, what's with June versus May? I mean, it's only a 30-day difference, and yet there's a shocking increase.
I mean, it could be people are getting into the swing of summer and maybe eating out more and having a good time. I don't know. But, it's consumer sentiment swings a lot lately, and people get more conservative, and then, the consumer price, not the consumer price index, the Michigan statistic that comes out once a month on consumer sentiment, that index, it's a 100 index, some months it's going up 5-6 points, some months it's going down. It's very hard to read, but I think that's independent. I think the consumer credit is going to start going up because the banks are pushing that credit at the public with vigor.
Well,
it's
and
constant.
that just
I get in the mail, I'm sure you do too. I must see 10 plus offers a week on consumer credit.
Yeah, I'm starting to get them again. Yeah, there are a lot of them. But you know what?
I hate them, but I don't bother. I don't hate them from the standpoint of bothering to call them and say, don't send them to me. But you have to shred those. You can't just throw them out in the garbage because they have your name and they have an offer code on it.
That's right.
You can't, just to make sure people know that, you can't throw that in the garbage. You must shred
Easiest way to have your identity stolen is don't shred those credit card offers, because all they do is fill them out, change the address
Wait,
on
don't
it.
shred them.
I mean, shred them. Don't just throw them away in your trash. They end up in a landfill, and
No, and you also have to be careful of your spouses and your children. I mean, we actually had a case a number of years ago where the mother filled out the forms on behalf of both children and husband and rang up $250,000 of aggregate debt, about $100,000 for each of the two kids and $50,000 for the husband. That was a very serious problem that we dealt with, and we got it resolved. But what it goes to show you is that problem surfaces inside a house as well as with identity theft outside of a house.
Yep, and it's a bigger problem when you're dealing with mom doing it versus, or the kids doing it versus
dad.
somebody else, or dad. But I'm just saying versus an enemy of yours, so to speak. You have no problem putting a crook in jail, but you got a real problem putting mom in jail.
Well, the hard part about the crook is catching them, and then the hard part about the family is you do catch them, and then what do you do with them? That's a whole different issue. All right, let's talk about the seminar a little bit. We always start off the seminar by saying these are not the old times. And we always try and get the group and people there to focus. And by the way, this is this is our 38th seminar that we've put on over the last 6 years. I just wanted you to know that.
And it's amazing that you can keep coming up with such inventive names for the seminar.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
End debt this summer.
Well, I'm not going to say end debt in 2014.
This is true.
I mean, you have to be creative. Where are you going to be?
We also, just for the listening audience, do change up the seminar because as new information comes out, we bring it to you.
Yeah, and you also, the emphasis now, if you went back 4 years ago, we spent a lot more time talking about short sales because short sales were a lot more dominant in the marketplace than they are now. We still talk about it, but we don't talk about it nearly as much. So it moves with the times. But the two big questions you always have to ask yourself are, where will you be when it's time to stop working and retire? And if you eliminate debt now, how big of a difference is it going to make?
I'll answer both questions simply. Better off and huge.
That should inspire people to want to come to the seminar and to figure out the importance of eliminating debt. So I thank you very much for that well thought out answer. Did you come through that over? Did you think of that while you were sleeping on the material?
No, just now as I read it.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, I want to
amusingly, actually, I could go on for a long time if you want me to, but since we're coming up on a break, we'll hit it after the break.
I'm going to actually illustrate it with something that the GOP debate, and Trump was asked, "How can you lead the country when your companies have filed bankruptcy 4 times?" And if you happen to watch the debate, he fumbled big time on the answer, and we're going to come back and tell him how he should have answered that question.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
So Donald Trump was asked in the debate by Chris Wallace in a very pointed question. And yeah, Donald was all upset about how he was picked on in the debate. You know, he's a big boy. I think if you put it out there, you've got to be able to. If you're going to put it out there, you got to be able to take it.
If
That's
you're
a
going to
different
open your
issue.
big mouth,
Right.
you better be able to stand there and take the
But he
abuse
said to
back.
him, how are you going to be able to lead the country when your companies have filed bankruptcy 4 times? And he made this statement of saying, I take advantage of the laws as I can, like other very successful business people do. And I could name them, but I'm not going to. And his statement wasn't false, but I think his statement was a poor way of explaining what he did. I don't have a problem with the fact that 4 of his companies filed bankruptcy.
No, one of them recently, I believe, too.
Yeah, what you have to keep in mind is the bankruptcy laws. Here's how he should have basically laid out his explanation if he had been prepared. The bankruptcy laws exist for good reason. They allow businesses and individuals that are faltering to resolve their debts and move on. And what's important in that is it's important for our economy. If our economy didn't have bankruptcy laws and stopgap measures to stop the flow of blood, everyone would falter. If everyone went into business and the conclusion was you ended up in debtor's prison if you didn't succeed, there would be 2 impediments to going into business. In a case like
That'd be
Trump,
more than 2.
in a case like Trump, he would have, in any one of those companies that went under, he would have invested millions of dollars of his own equity into those companies, and then the banks loan the rest of the money. And Chris Wallace made a point, well, the banks lost billions of dollars, like we should be worried about the banks. When banks invest in a deal like that, they understand the upside and the downside. The upside is the return they're going to make on the interest. The risk is that they may lose their money because the company goes bust. They didn't have a guarantee from Donald Trump. They would have liked one. It wasn't part of the deal.
It's funny because people seem to think that banks are different in some level than any other business person.
In terms of taking risk.
And you're right. Any business person that wants to make a profit recognizes that whatever they're doing has an inherent level of risk. It might not have a lot of risk, and sometimes it might have an extraordinary amount of risk. But why we can't understand that a bank is risking its money also is beyond me.
It's for a bank, the money is their product. They put it out there and they sell it as a commodity. Sometimes when you're in business, you sell your goods and the person doesn't pay you because they go bankrupt or they go out of business or they're short of cash.
No.
It's the same thing for a bank. Their product is dollar bills.
Now imagine this. Imagine how carefully you would pick out your bank to invest your money in and keep your money in if the FDIC didn't exist.
Yeah, the FDIC is a good stopgap measure, but for you.
Yeah,
But if you're a guy like Warren Buffett and you've got so much money, you can't spread it around to every bank to get the benefit of the FDIC insurance. But you don't really have to worry. And we're not going to worry about Warren Buffett.
I don't think Warren Buffett
The other thing
worries
I think
about
Trump should have
Warren
said
Buffett.
is it's the responsibility of every individual, both the business person and the guy working day to day, to take such steps as he can to preserve future income for him and his family and for his business. The bankruptcy laws are not a trick of the trade to work to your advantage. They are a tool of financial crisis management that should always be employed in a way to preserve future income for you and your family. That's what we do. That's what we have said. And if you look through, and if you're on a sinking ship, the goal is not to go down with the Titanic. The goal is to get off the ship and move on and get back and be productive in the business and economic world. And our economy depends on that. And when he goes, and I'm not, he only had 1 minute to respond to the question, but he should have been ready for that question. and he should have been ready for a few of the other ones as well.
Well,
You knew that was coming at him.
Yeah, but on the other hand, he didn't answer it poorly. I mean, he was right. When bankruptcy laws exist for a good reason, when he says, I take advantage of the laws just like many other very successful people, he's right. He's manipulating the system on his own behalf. He's being selfish for himself.
No, I don't agree with that. That's where that is exactly what he said. He's not manipulating the system. If his companies are faltering and he invested $20, $30, $40 million and the bank invested another $300-400 million and the company's upside down and going under, it's the right business move to bankrupt it. It is not being manipulative. It is being smart. There's a difference there. When you say manipulative, it's like you're being sneaky or you're being underhanded. We're not sneaky and underhanded. We're clever. He's clever as well, but there's nothing underhanded about that. And putting it out there in the news media, when they ask that question, they know that there's nothing wrong with doing it. They're asking the question because they're trying to make the guy look bad. And I'm saying he made himself look bad by saying that. He could have been a little bit more upfront.
He makes himself look bad when he opens up his mouth a lot of the times regarding anything.
And just to put it in perspective, so you know how important the bankruptcy laws are, I went and pulled some numbers to see how many people filed bankruptcy during the course of the financial crisis through July of this year. And just so you have the number for Americans, 8,014,942 people filed bankruptcy between 2009 through July of 2015. We only have 300 million adults in the country, so it shows how big of a portion of the population has been put in a position where they have to avail themselves of these options in order to do what? To preserve future income for them and their family. That was a smart move for them to do it.
And these numbers are noted after the law changed in 2005, which did make it harder to file bankruptcy. So now what you're seeing is 8 million people filing, and the reward is preserving future income. The problem is that if you get in trouble again, with regard to Chapter 7s, you can only file a bankruptcy once every 8 years instead of every 6 like it used to be.
No limit.
13s, you can file one after another, fortunately, from the standpoint of...
If you need it.
If you need it.
Right.
From the standpoint of dealing with additional problems that came up, we're talking about student loan issues are going to be the next big thing. And that's going to be... When you see student loans being able to be discharged in bankruptcy again, these numbers are going to explode.
Well, whatever we see, we're going to see it in some kind of modified fashion, but we're going to have to see something because $1.3 trillion
It'll be a
$2.6
$2.6 trillion problem within 10 years.
And growing day to day. Just if you're curious, in Michigan, the total number of filings during that same period were 333,835. It's usually about 80% Chapter 7, 20% Chapter 13. If you're watching the TV version, we're putting a couple charts out to illustrate. We'll be back after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Fav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, before we get back to the material, let's do announcements.
Nice hat.
Thank you. You have a nice hat on there, too.
Thank
Law and
you.
Reality hat. All right, announcement number 1, free hat giveaway.
Free hat
We're
giveaway.
going to give away 4 free Law and Reality golf hats to the first 4 people that go to the lawandreality.com website and click on joining the fan club. When you join the fan club, I get a notification that you've joined. So the first 4 that notify us, I will then email you back that you've won. You then need to send me your address, and I will then mail you out the Law and Reality hat. So there you go. The first 4 callers, either on the radio or on the TV version, will receive a free hat. You don't get to decide whether you get beige or white, but if you email me and you ask, we can cover you that way as well. I thought the whites were for the girls, Brian. But that's just my little sidekick. Anyway, seminar coming up Wednesday, August 19th. And at the summer, we've been talking about it on the show.
That's it. I'm leaving.
So I don't want to talk about it that much more other than from the show. If you want to sign up for the seminar, go to lawandreality.com or call or go to thavgross.com or call 888-235-HELP. It's Wednesday, August 19th. You also get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt, if you attend. I want to thank our sponsors, Samasco Law, Thav Gross. If you go to the Law and Reality website, you can get free copies of the Social Security report from Pat Samasco, and you can also get the Reg X Hidden Secret report, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Back to the material. So the seminar coming up, we were previewing it. The seminar starts out, and we go through a couple key stories to illustrate problems people have and the degree in which you can solve those problems. And one is called the Mike and Rita story, which is dealing with a home underwater and too much credit card debt. The other story we'll run through is called Jim's story, which illustrates the concept that we talk about all the time, that credit card debt is financial cancer. And we walk through a process to illustrate how much Jim is throwing away of all of his future income for years and years on interest, when if he's earning decent income, there's a solution outside of bankruptcy that can get rid of that credit card debt and save that money and put it in the bank. So we talk about those 2 stories.
You know, the one comment I'm going to make about the credit card debt being financial cancer, I want everybody to think about the fact that we're all living a lot longer than we used to be.
Yes.
In general, and your money has to last you, and you want it to last you until the day that you visit the box, so to speak. You do not want to become a burden on your children. You do not want to become a burden on the state. So anything, and I mean anything that you can legally do to save your money for your future is imperative. Period.
So then, and you kind of jumped ahead to what we call, when we talk about financial crisis management and what the goal of that is. But the goal of financial crisis management is you do not allow your future earnings to be wasted by satisfying debts of the past. And the goal that we employ is we want to shed the debt at the least cost and as quickly as possible. Those are the two concepts that we merge together in what we call financial crisis management, and then we use the tools of financial crisis management to accomplish that, and then we have our toolbox. And in our toolbox, we have house tools. What are our house tools?
Well, we've
wrench, screwdriver,
yeah.
drill.
Monkey wrenches for sure. Loan modifications, short sales, the possibility of obtaining principal reduction through seeking a loan modification or some other methodology. Actually, short sales are slowing down, but the loan modification and principal reduction is going to pick up towards the end of this year because it's being eliminated under HAMP.
Not this year, 2016.
At the end, yes, at the end of 2016.
Right. We're fighting foreclosure under Reg X, and then we also in the toolbox have issues on how to resolve tax problems. We go through the offer and compromise. We go through the rules on installment payments, and we also talk about in the seminar the tax consequences that you need to understand when you're settling credit card debt or when you're short selling a piece of property. It's very important that you always plan all costs into a strategy. Sometimes there's tax consequences. You want to adopt a strategy that minimizes or avoids them whenever possible, but you need to know going in. Divorce issues.
Huge thing.
Huge problem.
I absolutely do a lot of consulting around this city to divorce attorneys because your divorce attorney doesn't know anything about the bankruptcy code and doesn't know anything about protecting you in the future.
More likely than not, he doesn't know anything or she doesn't know anything.
No, they all don't know. Sorry.
But a lot of them confer with us with regard to those issues. The important thing you should know if you're going through a divorce and you have debt issues, you need to explore those issues at the time of the divorce and as part of the settlement. When you agree to indemnify your ex-spouse on any liability on a house,
I want to keep the house. I'm
it's a
going to
big
hold
problem.
you harmless are some of the world's worst words you could ever put in a divorce judgment.
And they're very common, so you need to look at it. And it was rampantly common before the financial crisis. The problem is those people that are smart learn their lesson about not making those commitments in the future, but not everybody is smart and not everybody is in tune with all of the issues. So you got to be very careful about that. Bankruptcy, we also cover at the seminar, but here's one of the surprises. That's just one of the topics. It's not a bankruptcy seminar because there are other issues and other solutions.
It's a financial crisis management seminar. It's giving you the tools you need to make the right decision. Remember, if you go see one type of attorney, you go see a bankruptcy attorney, that's all they know how to do is do a bankruptcy.
In the last minute, just so you know that, Brian.
I know that.
So you've got the tools to use. Brian will walk you through Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. We talk about debt resolution, which is how we settle credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, when it works, when it's the smart play. Brian talks about methods of dealing with our $1.3 trillion student loan problem. And one of his favorite topics is budgeting as well. And at the end, when we have time, we do Q&A, and we talk about estate planning issues that fall into play all the time when it comes to debt issues. Seminar, Wednesday, August 19th. Sign up at lawandreality.com. We'll be back with the next segment of Law and Reality.